The Reef Rescue Program is all about improving practices on horticultural enterprises, particularly around nutrient, sediment and chemical management. The outcomes are improved water quality leaving farms and therefore improved reef water quality outcomes. The Reef Rescue Program started with financial support for businesses to purchase equipment to help implement best management practices along the Great Barrier Reef catchment zone. Part 2 of the program has been about increasing the knowledge of local landholders and has taken the form of workshops, as GrowCom Land and Water Field Officer Robert Doyle explains.
We've been running half-day workshops looking at managing soils, and another session looking at managing fertigation. And those half-day workshops have been broken into 2 sections, a classroom theoretical session where we've looked at the theory about each of those areas, and then we spent a couple of hours out in the paddock doing a practical session looking at the practical side of that theory we discussed a little bit earlier.
Kim Weston farms with his son Zach at Childers in Queensland, about 30 kilometres from the coast and the sensitive Great Barrier Reef. With 3,000 avocado trees on undulating country, there are plenty of challenges facing the Westons as they push to be more efficient with their inputs.
If we are over-fertilising, or if we've got the rain wrong, excess rain, or too much water, that fertiliser is leaching into our streams, going into our rivers, and going out and destroying our Great Barrier Reef, which, being one of the 7th wonders of the world, we don't really want to be doing that.
However, while the environment is a primary concern, it's not the only consideration for Kim and Zach, who also need to have a healthy business too. Being more efficient with their inputs and understanding water and fertiliser management means both the environment and their business benefits.
If I'm putting fertiliser on, I want the best bang for my buck. I don't want to be over-watering and sending my fertiliser away. I want it to be into the trees where I'm going to get a return for my money.
The initial phase of the Reef Rescue Program helped growers purchase equipment, during which the Westons bought a side throw slasher to mulch grass, which provided extra nutrition, reduced evaporation and improved weed control in the orchard. They also introduced a spray detection system, which cut down on chemical use. Part 2 of the Reef Rescue Program is about gaining knowledge to improve on-farm management. Through a series of workshops run by GrowCom Land and Water Field Officer Robert Doyle, the Westons have learnt how to apply inputs such as water and fertiliser more efficiently on their avocado farm.
Robert supplied, through GrowCom, water retention charts for this block they're on, soil charts, so we know what sort of soil we're dealing with and what our water retention was for our orchard. Through these different workshops we done, there was a course of 3 or 4 of them, and they done things like, our furthest block is 1 kilometre away. We put a red dye in, and we come to realise it took 30 minutes for our fertiliser to get to the first tree, and then another 30 minutes after that to get to the last tree. I was only watering in 2 hours. Therefore, the first third of that block was getting over-fertilised, and the last third was getting no fertiliser. One of the other things with pressure gauges and so forth, with one of our blocks it's on a bit of a hill, we found that the pressure down the bottom of the hill was too much. So we were getting a third more water at the bottom of the hill than the top. So we changed our sprinkler sizes, so now we're getting a more even watering across the whole field. We also talked about the water retention in the soil, and it come to be with our soil that 4 hours of watering with this type of sprinkler gave us 12 millimetres of water. And with avocados being top feeders, we want that fertiliser to stay in 300 to 400 mils. What I was doing in the past was actually putting so much water on, I was pushing my fertiliser away from the feeding zone of the trees. So, which is not productive and financial not benefit for me.
The workshops have resulted in significant changes on farm for Kim and his son Zach in their day-to-day work.
What we're finding now is we're getting a lot smarter. We've worked out what size trees we've got, how many grams goes to each tree of fertiliser, and we're putting everything in at an optimal level that the tree needs when it needs it. And so we've got no waste. What I'm finding is, and it's only early days at the moment, with this year, we have not had to go around and chuck 7 kilos of fertiliser, which is ammonium sulphate, which is a form of nitrogen, which is the reef's enemy. We're not putting 7 kilos of fertiliser on any given trees, which was taking time and cost. The other thing we're noticing is that our fruit is holding on. Avocados will abort their fruit and drop it on the ground if your watering is wrong and if your fertiliser is wrong. I'm finding we're getting about 20 to 25% of the fruit holding on the tree. So once again, win-win.
The knowledge the Westons have gained through the workshops and the resulting impact on the environment and their business has been an eye-opener for Kim.
We're saving on our fertiliser, about 30% gain. We're getting greater productivity, about 10% at this stage. We're saving on man hours in the field and fertiliser bills where we're putting out by hand. So all in all, it's a win-win situation. And of course, our environment is winning as well. So it all comes back to knowledge, which knowledge I didn't have, and I'm farming a lot more smarter. My son, 26-year-old Zach, is now in with me, and he's learning from the beginning not to do it the way I was, the old school of, here's a bag of fertiliser, chuck it under that tree. So we're working smarter. So I think it's a benefit all around.